Lord Lamont, why won't the Leave campaign spell out precisely what Brexit will mean to the British economy and its trading relations with the EU?
Well, this is the point that the Remain campaign keep making, though they knew it's a very false point. Obviously, you can't spell out every single detail of which sectors will be affected in each way, but Britain will get and needs, in the event of Brexit, a special trade arrangement giving full tariff-free access to the single market. That is easily negotiable. For this reason, the EU needs access to us every bit as much as we need access to them. So I would expect a free trade agreement to be specially designed for Britain and negotiated quickly. Now, various European politicians have said this will happen. Mr. Schäuble, the German finance minister, said in the event of Brexit, Germany would need a free trade agreement with Britain. Jacques Delors has said he recognises that many British people are only interested in the economic aspects of Europe, and an economic free trade arrangement should be arranged in the event of Brexit.
But isn't that just blind optimism? And
no, it's not
whatever
blind
deal
optimism.
will happen, and whatever deal will come, will involve a cost. There will be some sort of tariff, there'll be some sort of price to pay into the EU budget, there might have to be some acceptance of some free movement of labour within the UK. In other words, any future trading relationship will come at a cost, surely.
I don't see why there should be any increase in tariffs, because Europe needs to sell to us. It would be in their interest to have a free trade arrangement. You say there might be a contribution to the budget, but it would be a lot less than our contribution now. You say there might have to be some movement of labour, but it would be less than the unrestricted movement of labour that we have now. So there would be big gains as well. The biggest gain, of course, is getting out of the political aspects of Europe and the threat of further integration.
But isn't the point that the Leave campaign has to be more explicit about this, because they're going into this campaign, they're asking the voters to say vote to take Britain out of the EU, and there's huge uncertainty about what may come next for the economy?
If I may say so, I think you're making a common mistake, which is that politics or people behind desks, whether in Whitehall or Brussels, determine trade flows. Trade flows are determined by buyers and sellers, and they go. That's how the United States sells more to the EU than we do. The EU is the biggest trade partner of the United States. They sold over $200 billion worth of services last year. We sold less than £100 million worth of services.
But if Britain leaves the EU, it will be politicians who will be negotiating with the EU and other countries over these trading relations, and they will be having to make trade-offs. And people in France, in Paris and Frankfurt will be sitting there saying, well, OK, we might trade with the UK on goods, but why should we continue to let them have their advantage on financial services and things like that? In other words, there is an economic cost for the political gain that the Leave campaign would say comes from leaving the EU.
Well, as I'm sure you know, Britain has a large deficit in manufactures, and the EU will want to continue to be the gainer from that. Britain has a surplus on financial services, and I'm sure the two are easily traded off one against the other.
OK, let's just be specific about this for a second. If Britain leaves the European Union, do you think it should in any way rejoin or be part of the single market?
I think it ought to be part of the single market in the sense of having access to it. One says access. I mean, every country in the world has access to it. They're just slightly different terms. But you know, they're not disastrously different. Otherwise, China wouldn't be able to sell to the single market. Japan wouldn't be able to sell to the single market. The United States wouldn't be able to sell to the single market. Both China and the US sell more to the single market than we do. They don't have any special arrangement whatsoever.
If we get some access to the single market,
we would have access. Okay. Everyone has access.
Let us accept we would have some access to the single market, but that would come at a cost of maybe some freedom of movement, some contribution to the EU budget, some potential barriers to trade elsewhere. And is that really a price worth paying?
Well, I don't think it would come at a cost at all. You have just mentioned the budget contribution. That would be less than our current £20 billion a year gross contribution. You talk about...
But some voters would say, look, we're leaving the EU. Why should we carry on paying money into their budget?
Because we would be totally out of the process of political integration. We would be totally out of the European Court of Justice, determining our laws. We would also, most importantly, regain control of our borders. The rate of immigration into this country at the moment, as Theresa May said, is unsustainable. And she said that specifically about the EU rules. And we just can't go on with this level in a small, overcrowded country having this level of migration.
Final question. Isn't the bottom line that the political gain of freeing the UK from the shackles of the European Union will come at some kind of economic cost that will have an impact on jobs, on prices, and that is a trade-off that the Leave campaign, just has to be honest about?
I don't think there would be any cost in terms of jobs or prices. If anything, prices might be lower. Many businesses have said it will make no difference. I'm very struck by the number of fund managers, people who actually invest people's pensions, who said actually they can't see a great change economically either way. This is a matter of politics. People like Legal & General today have said they don't think their business would be affected significantly by a Brexit. So, I believe the economy would go on much as it is, but what we want is a relationship with Europe that is purely economic, not political union.
Norman Lamont, thank you very much indeed.